Close your eyes. See with mine.
You were a top student, but look at you now. You can't keep using your father's disappearance as an excuse to act out.
Is that his work? What's it about?
Their dad, he wanted to touch the stars.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Real Talk, a video review segment by Lantern TV. I'm Wyatt Crozier. Joining me again is Zach Varda.
Back by popular demand.
Back by popular demand after a scathing review. This time we're reviewing A Wrinkle in Time. It is directed by Ava DuVernay. It's based off a classic novel. It stars Storm Reed, Reese Witherspoon, Zach Galifianakis, Chris Pine, Levi Miller. Am I missing anyone?
Oprah.
Oprah's a big one. A lot of people in this movie is basically what I'm trying to say. And Zach, how about you give a little bit of what this movie's about?
So there's a child, Meg Murray, and she has a dad and a mom who work for NASA. The dad thinks he finds a way to travel, or the mom and the dad both think they find a way to travel across the galaxy with just their mind. They make the announcement, and the dad goes missing. The story picks up 4 years later. The dad's missing for 4 years, and the family is visited by beings from out in the universe, and they go on an adventure to find the dad.
So for me coming in, have you seen any of Ava DuVernay's work before, Selma 13th? I loved her. Yeah. In both those movies are just fantastically directed, so I was really excited coming in. And off the bat, I do appreciate a lot of the ambition the movie has, because it's not like a cut and dry movie for like a kid's movie or anything. It really steps out of its way to try to be different.
Absolutely, yeah. For a kid's movie, it has some scary moments, like moments that even as an adult, I was like, man, that's creepy, and it's beautiful, I think is one thing you have to say about it.
Definitely.
The color in this movie is fantastic, and I had never read the book, but it's definitely an ambitious story, and I think she took a lot of risks in the way she told it.
Yeah, I read it a long time ago, so my memory of it is fuzzy, but I remember it being a confusing book when I did read it. For me, I thought the supporting cast was a big boost to the movie because it's just a loaded supporting group. You have Storm Reed and Levi Miller in the leads, but the supporting cast really helps them out, especially Chris Pine in his limited run. And I liked Oprah a lot. I liked Zach Galifianakis' very short role. Who were some of the standouts for you?
Zach Galifianakis was really good. It's the character. It's a Zach Galifianakis character, which if you've seen him before, you kind of know what that means. Reese Witherspoon really stood out for me. Her character has a unique vibe, is the best way to put it, and she nails it.
I thought she was a little off-putting on occasion. I knew that's the purpose of her character, obviously, but for some points I thought she was a little annoying, but she did do a good job with the character she was given. However, I might as well just get into it. You liked this movie,
I did.
And I did not like this movie. So how about you talk about some of the things you enjoyed about the film?
To be a little sappy right off the bat, I just really liked some of the messages in it. I think one of my favorite scenes, without giving away spoilers, is when Oprah's character, Miss Witch, tells Meg Murray, the lead, why she should be comfortable with who she is. It happens about halfway through. It's when they go to see Zach Galifianakis' character, the happy medium. That's a very powerful scene to me, and I really enjoyed that. And I just like the overall message. Kids' movies or family movies, the pacing's always nice. It's comes in at a little under 2 hours, and it kind of works perfectly. You never dwell too much on one point. So I felt like I moved through it really quickly. There were some really cool messages in it. I definitely teared up at least once, and I just felt like I never was looking for the exit or trying to see what time it was.
See, I'll agree to some of those points to an extent. I think some of the emotion works. I wouldn't say I teared up at any points, but I did feel, especially between Storm Reed and Chris Pine, those two characters, I thought that was really strong. And I also agree that the pacing was fine, but often I had no idea what in the world was going on. It's so just scattered and messy some of the time that I just truly lost its path of where it's going a lot.
Maybe you're just not smart enough.
No, I mean, there are a lot of scenes where they just jump to something and you're like, oh, they'll probably explain that, and they just don't. Or just there's a lot of moments for me where I was just like, this is just so weird and so outlandish, and it just never gives me a reason to care a lot. I don't know. I know the book is confusing because I read it a long time ago, and like I think it was like 9th grade me. I was like, what in the world is happening? And then junior year in college me is still like, what in the world is happening? If you're gonna adapt this book, I think you have to dumb it down a little bit to make it cohesive and to make a story that works. And for me, it just didn't do that.
I think there were definitely some things that were left ambiguous, but I think I like that about it. Like the evil that's in the film, we really don't know what it is, but I think that works. I can see why it's frustrating, but I think some of the things that were left ambiguous played well in that this has some very broad universal themes. Good versus evil,
right, yeah.
Knowing who you are, being comfortable in your own skin, everybody's fighting their own battle, you don't know what's going on in someone else's home life, etc., etc. And so I think by leaving some things ambiguous, it allows the viewer to take those universal themes and apply their own life to it. So you see the universal theme and you say, oh, I know how that relates to my life. And if it's very specific, maybe it's not as easy to do that. But I can see where you're coming from. Like I said, I liked it, but it's not like I gave it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
I can see where it has its flaws. I just really enjoyed that it was kind of a simple movie. I went and saw it last night. You know, I didn't walk away frustrated. I thought, oh, that was a good message, a good film, you know.
See, I left pretty frustrated, but I'm going to talk about another thing that was issue. There's 3 leads, I would say. I forget the names of the characters. Storm Reed, Levi Miller, and this little kid that I'm going to have to look up. Charles Wallace.
Charles Wallace.
Charles
I don't
Wallace.
Know who the actor
I forget the actor's name. I think
McCabe,
it's Bryn McCabe or something.
Yeah.
It's something like that. He's like 9 years old. He's incredible in the movie. I think he leads this film.
To be able to play such an intelligent person that has kind of multiple personality quirks at that age is pretty impressive.
Yeah, but the other 2, Storm Reed and Levi Miller, I had big issues with, especially the latter, who plays Calvin in the movie.
I'm not going to cape up for Levi Miller. He can't act.
That kid can't act. He can't act. He just, His character I have issues with too.
Yeah, his character has issues, but it's what his character represents. That's more important, so you can kind of just ignore his horrible acting.
I couldn't. I get what you're saying with what he represents, but every single line out of this kid's mouth is just the driest thing you've ever heard. Anytime he tries to bring emotion or humor, it's just cringy.
I cringed at the middle school flirting. He told her he liked her hair like 3 different times.
And this kid, he was in Pan, if anyone saw that like 3 years ago, really bad in that too. And I mean, he's 16 years old. I don't want to be too hard on the kid, but dude,
do better.
Do better.
Do better.
Storm Reed, she's okay. Like she never like.
I think
she's passable.
She plays emotions well.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's just a kid acting, so you get what you get.
You get what you get.
I think she plays off of Chris Pine really well when they're in scenes together.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks a lot to Chris Pine. Like you said, he's not in this movie a lot, but he's phenomenal when he is.
A lot. You said like it's a lot about what it represents, and in like the first act, it's kind of showing what it represents with all of like the family drama, and you don't know what's behind closed doors. But I think it kind of overdoes it a lot, especially in the school with like the bullying. It just seems like it's like that cliche, like way over the top, like sadistic level of kid.
This isn't a spoiler because it happens.
No, it's
in
like
the first
10 minutes. I know what you're gonna say.
The bullying is when they tell her that her dad disappeared and they wish she would too.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just don't remember people being that sadistic in middle school or even high school.
No.
So yeah, the bullying's a little bit over the top because this poor girl's dad disappeared and they just relentlessly make fun of her for it.
Like.
I get what they're trying to get across, but that was one of the. I laughed out loud.
Yeah,
because I was like, what child would do that to somebody?
No, and it's a small thing, but it just a lot of the times it just feels like this movie has a lot of ideas, like the book, I'm sure, that just don't get fully realized the way they want to. And for me, it just never came together. I was always like, what is this? Where are we going? What is this world that they're trying to build? What is this evil? And for me, it was just too many unanswered questions without being interesting enough to back it up.
That's fair. I liked the movie. I just think that it was simple enough. There were ambiguous things, but it was ambiguous so that you took the universal themes away and applied them to your own life. But I can see, I'm not going to go shout from the mountaintops to go see this movie and that it needs an Oscar or anything, but, it was good for what it was for me.
Okay. So let's start with ratings. Since I'm the lower one, I'll go first. I think if you're a fan of the book, you may appreciate this movie more than I did. For me, it is a spectacle, So there is that going for it. But I think there's just too many things that were left totally confused. The lead two are bad, specifically Levi Miller, but I'll drop it. I just don't think it's worth your time to see unless you're this gigantic fan of the book who has everything understood. It's really confusing, it's really messy, and I love Ava DuVernay, so it's really sad for me to think it's a misfire for her. So I would just say I wouldn't see it. Maybe on Netflix later, but it's not worth it for me to go to the theaters.
I would take the time to go see it in the theaters if I was looking to see a movie and I'd kind of seen, like, Annihilation's out right now. If I'd already seen Annihilation, I'm like, I want to go to the theaters and see something else. I would check this out because I do think it would be worth seeing in theaters for some of the, scenes that are spectacles. But I wouldn't skip a meal or take a hit on my budget to go see it. But if I'm looking for something to see and I've kind of seen the big movies that are already out, Black Panther, because I've kind of assumed people have seen it by now.
We love Black Panther.
Yeah, so if you've seen Black Panther Annihilation and you need something else to see, I think it's worth taking the time if you're headed to the movies already.
Just go see Black Panther again.
I can't argue with that.
That's a wrap on Real Talk this week. Zach, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Good fight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.